Once the wall is buttoned up and made weather resistant, it's time to install the starter trim. Now the starter trim is a J-channel. When we're fastening the starter trim to the wall, we're going to fasten this about every 8 to 12 inches or so. Now we can begin installing the panel by placing the panel into the starter trim, making sure that it's fully seated along the entire length of the panel. Fasten the panel by placing a fastener in the center of the slot about every 16 inches or so, and leave about the thickness of a dime between the head of the fastener and the aluminum itself to allow for expansion and contraction of the panels. The lock on Cedar Renditions panel is a gravity or drop-down lock. Just make sure that the panels are fully seated into the panel below. Seam the panels by overlapping them and leaving about 1/8 of an inch between the two nail hems. To install the top course or final panel in a wall, use the same technique that you use for going under windows and doors. That is, install a receiving channel, in this case underneath your eaves or overhangs, and then measure from inside that channel down to the lock to see how tall the panel needs to be. And it's a good idea to measure in several places. Subtract about 3/8 to 1/2 of an inch from that measurement. Once you've ripped the panel down, you can use the section that you removed, or the nail hem section, as a shim inside the channel to give the final panel some support. If you do this, we do recommend that the face of this shim be no more than 1 to 1.25 inches or so. That'll give plenty of firm support for that last panel. Just install your shim up inside the channel, and of course fasten it into place. Then install the final panel. You can, if you like, run a bead of flexible sealant right along that cut edge of the panel prior to the installation. Then place the cut edge of that panel in between your shim and the back side, the face of that channel. Push all the way up, and then with a kind of a downward motion, tap the panel down until the lock is fully engaged.
Each carton of multi-tone siding contains different variations in tone and grain. These variations are designated by a marking on the back of each panel. For the best appearance, the panels should be installed in a random pattern, mixing the different variations throughout the wall. You may find it easier to organize the panels in stacks of each variation and pick from these stacks randomly throughout the installation. This will add a natural wood grain look to the project.